Welcome to Achieving Awesomeness Now, your podcast headquarters for inspiration, motivation, and all things awesome. Designed to help you step into your greatness and inspire others to do the same. And now your host, Master Life Coach, Nathan Osmond.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Achieving Awesomeness Now. We're dedicated to helping you step into your greatness and inspiring others to do the same. And with that, we welcome you to the program. We have a great show put together for you. And I tell you this, I've been excited to introduce to you guys my new friend, Stacey Chillemi. She's an incredible lady, a prominent health and lifestyle reporter, expert, and best-selling author. Stacey has captivated audiences worldwide with her invaluable insights and proven strategies for healthy living. Through her dynamic influencing power, she has touched the lives of hundreds of thousands of people across the globe, guiding them toward vibrant well-being and personal growth. She was actually selected as one of the top 10 entrepreneurs of 2023 by Apple News and featured in renowned publications such as Grit Daily, Business Insider, Yahoo News, and Insider. Her viral success with a staggering 17 million views showcases the massive impacts that she's made on individuals seeking transformative change. With over 20 best-selling books to her name, including her recent releases, Empower Yourself and Not Let Your Conditions Empower You, The Positivity and Gratitude Journal, and the latest version of Epilepsy, You're Not Alone, Stacey has become a trusted source of inspiration and knowledge, and we have her right here on our show. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the program, the one and only, the advisor, Stacey Chillemi. Welcome to the program, Stacey. How are you?
I'm doing good. And yourself?
Oh my heck, it's so fun to have you on my show. I was just on your show, and look at this. We're getting noisy together. Guys, we've got the advisor here with us, the one and only Stacey Chillemi in the house. This is awesome. I get giddy. I'm so excited to have you on the show. And we talked about a lot of things on your show, which I want to encourage everybody. Go listen to that interview that we did on your podcast, and tell everybody about your podcast. Where can they find it?
So it's The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi. It's all about self-improvement, mind, body, soul, business, you name it. We carry a broad spectrum of areas that we dive into and talk about. We have a lot of different experts, people, doctors, coaches, people in all areas, celebrities come on, and they all share their knowledge about life and what they've learned. And so it's awesome. You can find it on all the platforms and even on the YouTube channel where The Advisor. We're all over. So just type in The Advisor with Stacey Chillemi and you'll find me.
Chillemi, Chillemi. And I tell you, she is dynamic. You've written over 20 books. I mean, you live with epilepsy, but epilepsy does not have you, girl. And you're empowering thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives across the globe. I mean, you've been on Dr. Oz's show. I mean, you're hanging out with a who's who. And I just love that you were discovered. And I love the story that you shared with me before when you had epilepsy, when they said, hey, you have epilepsy, and how you wrote to a magazine. Can you tell us what happened? Tell us that story, because it's fascinating what happened.
So, it all started out, I had like a small ear infection and virus, and my mother took me to the doctor, and that night she heard a gurgling sound in my room. She came in my bedroom, and I was turning blue, and I was in a grand mal seizure. They rushed me to the hospital, and they said that the virus had traveled to my brain and caused encephalitis. So I was induced into a coma, and I was in that coma for 4 days. They told my parents, most likely if she does come out of this, she'll be paraplegic or she'll have severe brain damage. And my dad, who is religious, he was by my bedside, and he was praying that I would be okay. And he said that he was visualizing a statue that used to be in front of the church, and it was known to have teardrops fall from its eyes. So he said when he looked up, he saw a teardrop roll from my eye. Oh, and I opened my eyes and I asked for McDonald's French fries. And
McDonald's, if you're listening, she's loving it. Oh my gosh.
And so I didn't have brain damage. I wasn't paraplegic, but I did end up with epilepsy. Yeah. To this day, they cannot find the scar tissue damage in my brain that causes the epilepsy. They figured it's scattered throughout my brain and it's so minute that they can't detect it. but I
Wow.
ended up having seizures throughout my entire life. It was a roller coaster ride, lots of challenges. It was a real struggle, both mentally and physically. And when I got to college, the late night studying, the trying to get the good grades, all that good stuff, I was like, my seizures just went right through the roof. And every young person has a bucket list. We have that list in the back of our head that we want to do, whether it's realistic or not. We got that bucket list, and that one bucket list, I had to finish college and get a college degree, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. It just didn't seem like it was going to be a reality for me. So one day I contacted the Epilepsy Foundation. And the Epilepsy Foundation had a magazine. So I wrote to the Epilepsy Foundation and I said that, I have epilepsy. I'd like you to publish this article. I'm looking for help. I need to know how others cope with this disorder. And so they published my article, and 300 to 400 letters from all over the United States came from the US and Canada. And I was shocked. And I read through every single letter, and it was such an inspiration, so motivational. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I was not alone. I always felt like I was alone. I always felt like I had to prove something. I was in total denial, lots of anger, frustration, you name it. I was going through it. And at that point, I realized that I wasn't alone. And I created a little regiment from everybody that I learned from that was really positive and and their stories were really meaningful. And I applied it to my own life, and I was able to get through college. Then I applied to different jobs in the city after I graduated, and I got a job with a big corporation, and I was living the limelight, enjoying life. And then one day I walked in, and there's like a big hallway in this building, and I felt an aura, which was like a signal that a seizure's coming. And I was looking both ways, trying to see like where I could hide so nobody would see me have the seizure, and there was nowhere to go. So I fell to the ground, and I just had a ground. I was awake, and I had a seizure where I was frozen, and so I couldn't move. And so just this gentleman who was an executive there just stepped over me and kept walking. And so it was, and I saw him do it, and I could see him do it. And I guess in my head, I said, I can't believe this man is doing this. He just stepped over me. And then shortly after, I was released from my position, and I didn't let it get to me. I said, you know what? This is not meant to be. I said, I'm going to be a success in life. I said, I don't know what's ahead in the future, but I am going to be a success. And I walked out of there with my head up high. And then I just started to freelance write. I started to meet people, and I started to do all these different assignments. And then I started a little blog on Blogger. During that time, I met an herbalist, and the herbalist needed a lot of research and writing done on natural healing. So I started to really do a lot of research. I was like, wow, a lot of these things could help me. And so I started applying a lot of these things to my own life, and my seizures went from 12 to 9 to 8, 7, 6, 5 to the point where they got controlled. So holistic living and taking my medicine combined and changing my lifestyle helped me control my seizures. And so I really started to write about this, and I thought about, this could help epilepsy. These things that I'm doing can help everybody. So once I started writing about it, a lot of people gravitated to that little blog. It was Blogger on when they gave us the little blog back then. And one day I bumped into, I started working for this website designer, and he said, I could make this into a cool website for you. And he did. And, and 400 people went to 10,000 to 100,000. And then I just kept growing, and then I started meeting more people, and it just like a snowball effect. And then I got a letter in, this is the turning point really, is when I got a letter in my email box, and I opened it up, and someone said, I found your, because at this point I took all those letters and I wrote the regiment, and I created a book called Epilepsy, You're Not Alone. And I showed people a way to cope with epilepsy. And this person came in my email box and said, I found your book in Barnes and Noble. I was on the verge of suicide. I read your book, and it saved my life, and I just want to say thank you. And at that point, I really I understood what the power of words, how powerful the words of wisdom can be. And that's when the light bulb went off. That's when I realized what my purpose in life was. That's when I realized where I was supposed to be in life, and what my direction was calling me to go. And I followed that path. And from then on, it's been like over 25 years. And I live off of positive thinking, gratitude, love, kindness, holistic living. And I just, I've made it a lifestyle. So now it's not even, I don't even think about it. I just do it,
I love that. That's the Nike slogan.
Yeah,
And
I
you've
just
written,
do it.
yeah, just do it, baby. You know what? You've written 20 best-selling books, and I think that's incredible. So you just talked about epilepsy, you're not alone, but you also wrote Empower Yourself and Not Let Your Conditions Empower You, and also the Positivity and Gratitude Journal. So you need to go check her out. Her website is staceychillemi.com. That's Stacey, that's Stacey. Chillemi is Chillemi. And make sure you go follow her. She's on YouTube, and she has so much wisdom. I love that your whole mission is to help guide people toward vibrant well-being and personal growth. I love that you're about the holistic diets and the herbs that are out there. I follow you on Instagram as well, and I love that you're into herbs. You know, God created this. I call it the Garden of Eden diet. You know what I'm saying? It's like we have so many remedies and things for health here on this planet that are growing out of the ground. We just need to understand and tap the power of what's been provided for us here on this earth. What types of herbs do you like to use for your epilepsy?
I noticed a huge change once I started to detox, because people don't realize that we hold so many toxins in our body. And this goes back to food too. Like as soon as you walk out of the house, as soon as you breathe the air, your body is taking toxins in. Well, the same thing goes with eating. People don't realize, but we are a very unhealthy, society where we just put a lot of junk in our mouth all the time. And, if your body doesn't recognize it, it stores it. So, and you look at a lot of labels, they have artificial coloring, which is cancerous, and they have all these different things. If you can't say it, then obviously it's not good for you. So when the body sees this, it stores it, and when it stores it, it slows down our organs. When it slows down our organs, that's when fatigue sets in. That's when our body can't do their job. That's when illness starts to set in. That's when your immune system starts to break down, and the whole cycle begins. And so it's really about taking care of your body. Learn how to handle stress. Stress was a big factor for me too. 70% of illnesses are caused by stress. And so I had to learn how to cope with stress. And I detoxed also. I didn't want to get off the subject, but I detoxed. I learned how I incorporated sleep into my diet. I made sure I wasn't up all hours of the night like I used to be. I made sure I got tried to get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep in my diet. And I was watching what I was eating. Those high sodium, foods were really making me bloated, and for people, and it was actually causing problems with my health. And I really, really focused more on eating clean and trying to eat healthy, and just trying to, we're going to have our moments where we crave an apple pie. That's okay, or a slice of pizza, but
guilty.
Yeah, me too. It's just not like our every single day thing,
Oh
so,
man.
it just changed my whole life. I really did.
Good to have the variety of life, all things in moderation. But the thing is, if you could, majority of the stuff that you put in your body, if you can focus on your health, because if you don't have your health, what do you have?
Exactly.
I mean, really. I've had a chance, even as a little 13-year-old kid, my Eagle Scout project was to bring awareness to children's hospitals. And so, I told you on your show that my grandmother started the Children's Miracle Network. So as youth chairman, I had a chance to go in and visit kids my own age and younger that were dealing with health challenges and leukemia and burn victims. I learned a lot about positive mental attitude in there too, because if a young burn victim can look at me and say, it's a great day, what do I have to complain about? You know what I'm saying? And I just love these kids. They're like such champs. But, getting back to our health and our bodies, I spoke to a group one time, and I had this all memorized, and I just wanted to read this because it's called Our Amazing Bodies. And this just kind of gives you an idea of who you are. Right. Think about this. This is thinking about you. You say, what can I do? This is one of my favorite books, says you are fearfully and wonderfully made, right? You have eyes that are 100 million receptors so that you can enjoy the flight of an eagle or watch a snowflake fall. You have ears that have 24,000 fibers that are vibrating right now so you can hear our voices. You have a heart that will beat 36 million times this year, and it will pump 600,000 gallons of blood to 60,000 miles of blood vessels and veins and arteries. You have lungs that have 600 million pockets of folded flesh that are expunging gassy waste from your system so that you can live and breathe and stay alive. You have 5 quarts of blood, and in those 5 quarts of blood, you have 22 trillion cells. Within each cell are millions of molecules, and inside the molecules is an atom. And those atoms are oscillating. And even as I speak, every second that ticks, 2 million cells die in your body and are reproduced. You are a walking resurrection. Even while I'm speaking, you have a brain that is 3 pounds of gray matter. Some of you, 12 and a half. But most of you have 3 pounds of brain, and that is the gray matter. And that brain has 4 million pain sensors. And I mean, this thing just goes on, but giving you just a sense of who you are. 500 muscles, 200 bones, 7 miles of nerve fiber, all synchronized to give your body agility, and most 500,000 touch detectors. It has 200,000 temperature gauges to that, so that you can make it so you don't blow up. I mean, how powerful is this? These are our bodies. And so what are we doing putting poison into them?
Yeah.
We are what we eat. You know, I used to joke because my Aunt Marie, she does all the Nutrisystem commercials. I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem. I told her the other day, it's like, I'm the Osmond that didn't lose 50 pounds on Nutrisystem. She laughed. You see, I'm saying, sometimes, you know, we are what we eat. And it's not just sometimes. I love these, like, you know, Netflix and biographies and things. What the Health I just watched the other day. I'm caring more and more about my health the older I get, because I'm 47 now. I'm type 2 diabetic. One too many times to the Cheesecake Factory, you know what I'm saying? But saying that there's got to be moderation in all things. My mother would get along with you great, because she's all about essential oils and about herbs and about what's growing out of the earth. So much of what we eat is not even food.
Right.
We're not even eating real food. What are we eating, Stacey?
Yeah, it's not real food. It's like those processed foods are just like, they're, you know, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. It's just like I guess you could call it make-believe food in a sense. You know, it's just it's not real. It's, you know, they say, you know, I'm not going to mention the name of the fast food industry, but there's one fast food industry that takes everything and just processes it, and there's really no meat in the meat product, you know. So it gives you a, you know, idea of, you know, people buy things, and even in the stores, you see things that are going to make you lose weight and this and that, and a lot of the stuff you'll turn over. So that's the trick. You got to turn it over and look at the ingredients, because some of these things are just, they have such, they're not really healthy. They're you know, they have, you know, they're compensating something with something else, and that something else, you know, maybe less calories, but it's not really good for the body. You know?
Absolutely. You know what? I sat by a kidney doctor from Idaho on a plane, and he looked just like John Stamos. I mean, it was so random, but I was like, we had the best conversation about our health, and I started talking to him about my type 2, and he says, Nathan, you can reverse type 2. I said, you can? I'm like, oh, that's great news. He says, and I can tell you right when diabetes started going up the charts. I said, when? He says, it was when Mary Lou Retton was on the front of Wheaties boxes saying, better eat your Wheaties. And I know Mary Lou. And guess what? He says that's when they were saying breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And we started buying it. Milk, it does a body good. Are you not seeing this as propaganda? He says it was the corn industry was getting into everything. And it says, we need to put it in cars. We need to put it in candy. We need to put it in everything. If you look at the labels, you start reading these labels and you see this high fructose syrup, he says that's right when diabetes went like this. And speaking of breakfast, he says, think about what that word is. It's 2 words. You break the fast. Break fast. Yeah. See, our ancestors way back in the day, as far back as you want to go, I'm not going to call them cavemen, but let's just say like our ancestors were hunters and gatherers. They spent their entire mornings on the hunt, looking for the food, which they would find, and they hunt down and they kill it, and then they skin it and they prepare it, and then they have 1 meal a day. Our bodies were not designed to have 3 full meals a day.
No.
Who came up with that concept? You know what I'm saying? Do you think there might be 100%. Some cha-ching tied to that? You know, and that's the thing, is we need to start thinking and reading and understanding our bodies are powerful. But if we're putting poison into them, I mean, my health, by the way, guys, got really bad. Stacey, I'm just going to say this. I went and saw my doctor when I was about 27 years old, and my triglycerides were incalculable.
Right.
They were that high. My bad cholesterol was off the charts and the good was non-existent. And it's like, okay, I was a ticking time bomb. And so my doctor said, you got to do something.
Right.
Well, I happened to be doing 155 financial conferences on the road as the MC. So I introduced all sorts of famous people. And one day I introduced a guy named Larry Scott. And Larry Scott was Mr. Universe, Mr. America, Mr. Idaho, Mr. California. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger came to get his autograph when he was a kid. He inspired Arnold to get into the weightlifting business. And here he is, a 66-year-old man with rock solid abs.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here as like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And I'm saying, okay, you're 66 years old, Larry. You got rock solid abs. Do you do a lot of sit-ups or crunchies? He goes, I do no sit-ups. No crunchies. In fact, Nathan, I worked out my abs in the shower this morning. There was an awkward pause, and I said, I don't know, Larry, if I want to know what you did in the shower this morning, but I am a little intrigued. Teach me, man. Teach me. I'd love to have rock solid abs. He taught me about isometrics, isotonics. He talked to me about how heat burns fat. He says, you need to start reading the labels on the backs of these things. He says, slim fast, they should call it slim slow. Look how many carbs are packed in there. You're starving yourself. But then you go look at Muscle Milk, and I'm not trying to like bag any brand out here, but let me just say this. He says they figured out what he calls his health ratio.
Yeah.
2 proteins for every carb. You look at it, they figured it out. Muscle Milk, 2 proteins for every carb, but work out, Nathan, 3 times a week. That's it. If you'll just do that little thing right there, I said, well, be specific, Larry. Like, what kind of stuff? Like, what has 2-to-1 ratios? He says, go look at like, low fat, lean meats. Tuna, be careful because of the mercury, all things in moderation. Low fat cottage cheese. He started giving me a list. And guess what I did? He gave me like rubber bands to start working out on the road. He gave me a little blender.
Yeah.
And this guy took me under his wing, and 4.5 months later, I walk into the doctor's office and he doesn't even recognize me.
Right.
I had dropped 50 pounds. And my triglycerides and cholesterol and everything else I had just been working on were all back to normal. The doctor said, how did you do this? You need to write a book.
Yeah.
I said, well, I got good coaching from good old Larry Scott. And I want to thank him for opening my eyes to what's possible in the body, because, you write about this, you speak about this, and you're like the herbal coach, and you're just changing lives out there. Do you love rosemary? Have you tried rosemary?
Rosemary is great for you. Yes.
Oh, you know what that does for me? I remember my childhood. I just put some on my hands and I breathe it in. I'm like, it just helps invigorate the mind. It's amazing. Some of these like essential oils and herbs that we just are not getting in what we call SAD, what they call the standard American diet.
Yes.
It's sad.
Yeah. They tell you how great herbs are. There's so many herbs out there. It's so healthy for you. And there are herbs out there like oregano that can sterilize. You could use it just to clean and sterilize your counter, and there's so many things that are so many herbs that are good for your body, and lavender is so common. Passion flower is like the natural Xanax, if you get all antsy, you could take a drop of passion flower, a little lavender before you go to bed, and even potassium and magnesium. People have trouble with insomnia and they can't fall asleep. You combine those 2 at nighttime, I guarantee you'll feel nice and calm, and there's a good chance you'll fall asleep,
Absolutely. And then when you wake up, get some happy saffron in you, it's just incredible. Like these herbs that are out there, I love it. In fact, I take a lot of things for like my type 2 on top of, they give you the metformin, which I don't like, by the way.
Yeah.
But I went to an herbalist and talked to a friend that's a natural holistic healer, and she's like, Nathan, try alpha lipoic acid. Try that in your diet. How about some gymnema? How about some berberine?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How about some chromium? How about, she started listing off all this stuff that's so good. How about some cinnamon?
Yeah.
Cinnamon can do some things for your diabetes as well. And I started doing this stuff, and so I'm working on the holistic side, on top of what the doctor's trying to bring my A1C down and everything else. But my mother, she read a book recently called I believe it's like the Glucose Revolution or something like that. There's so many good books that are out there. I love this book I just read called How Not to Die.
Right.
Look at that title. It talks
Yeah.
about the 15 ways that most Americans die, and then the second half of the book is how to avoid that. Did you know that
Right.
the 15th way most people die in this country is malpractice?
Really? I believe it.
15th. I mean, more than like less than less than 1 out of 4 doctors, less than one out
Yeah.
of 4 doctors washes their hands before surgery. Whoa, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So we just need to take our health into consideration daily.
Yeah.
And I love that you teach people this. You are an amazing coach and an entrepreneur and advocate for various causes. I love that you volunteer your time a lot. And I love that you give back so much, especially to like epilepsy patients out there. You're part of the Epilepsy Patient Advisory Council. You're so giving of your time. I don't know how you find time to do all the good that you do, but I got to congratulate you guys. Stacey here, just last year, was selected as one of the top 10 entrepreneurs by Apple News. That's huge. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank
How'd
you.
that make you feel?
Oh, that made me feel awesome. They told me that I was a disruptor in the health industry, because I went against the norm, which was traditional medicine, Yeah,
Yep.
and when you were talking about your diabetes, I thought about like I had this gentleman. He was he was a doctor who graduated from Harvard, and he was saying how his specialty was diabetes, and he was talking about how diabetes tripled. He said if you stay away from the grains, the rice, the processed wheats, all those things that we were not meant to eat as humans, he goes, I guarantee your diabetes will go down. He said, you have to really focus on, you could have the meat, you could have the fish, you could have, the pork, stay away from, those are the things that will destroy you. He said that all those processed wheats that we thought for so many years were so good because of the Wheaties commercials and all the other commercials that we had.
Sure.
All those grains, all those rices, we think it's healthy, it's easy, throw it in a pot, put some water and butter and put it in the microwave and you got yourself rice for dinner. Well, that stuff is destroying you, It might taste good, but it's destroying you at the same time.
Absolutely. You might sleep well. That's why they call it comfort food, but you just might be in a diabetic coma. You know what I'm saying? And not even know it, because that's where I was. My A1C got all the way up to 14.3.
Wow.
That's not good.
No.
And then, you know what my wife gave me for my birthday a couple years ago? Like, she gave me an IV. That's how bad I was, and I didn't even know it. And guess what? And I think you've learned this, especially in being the coach that you are, is that most people walk around sick, but they don't know it because it feels normal.
Yes.
When they start feeling good, it's a big deal because they haven't felt good or felt well in a long time. And so I love that you're changing lives out there. And here, when you got diagnosed with epilepsy, who would have thought that this girl that now was diagnosed with something would become like Miss Health? You know what I'm saying? They say that the biggest and most healthy thing that could happen to you is your first heart attack, because it wakes you up to your reality and your mortality. And you realize that there's a ticking time bomb going off. And guess what? None of us get out of here alive, but it's the quality of life that we live.
Yes.
I love that. And you're working on so many books. You've written over 20 books. Do you have like a certain book that stands out as one of your favorites out of those 20?
I like Empower Yourself. Don't let your conditions empower you. When I wrote that book, I meant it for everything. So you could have anxiety, you could have anything, stress, you could have diabetes. We all have something in life. Everybody has something. And, we were talking about when you were on my show, we were talking about, everybody has something. Everybody in our society, we try to show on the media that we're perfect looking and we got all our fillers and, life is happy and life is grand. And then after you post the picture and people think everybody's life is so great and so perfect, but behind closed doors, it really isn't. We all suffer from something in life. And a lot of times when we suffer from things in life, we tend to go into a denial at first. And first we don't want to accept it. And we just like you said, accept it. And we just learn to live with it, but at some point it's slowly ripping you apart emotionally, mentally, and physically. And, and then you have to really learn how to accept yourself. You have to Learn how to say, yes, I have this in my life. I'm not perfect. I hate the word perfect because it shouldn't be in the dictionary, because nobody is perfect. It doesn't exist, and then I talk about loving yourself. You don't have to, first you have to get out of the denial, face your fears, and focus on change, and you have to just really learn how to accept yourself. You have to learn how to love yourself. You have to get up in the morning, go to brush your teeth, look in that mirror and say, I love who I see. And if you can't do that, then you have to really take some time out for yourself and stop focusing on everything around you and start focusing on the most important person, you. And a lot of people feel guilty about it, but self-love is very important, and you have to feel good about yourself. Like we just said, the quality of life matters. Why do you want to live on this earth and feel like you're dragging your feet every day and live in sorrow and live in pain and live in sadness? That's not the way you want to live. You want to live in joy. You want to be happy. You want to be vibrant. You want to be there, and you want to rock this world, and you want to leave a legacy. When you leave this world, you want to make sure the world has known you, whether it's your family, your friends, anything that you could do to make a difference, to make this world a better place. You want to do that. And the only way to do that is to take care of you first. And then I go on to talk about self-esteem. And so many people, depending on the environment you came from, depending on how you grew up, depending on how you were treated, anything in life, but a lot of times we suffer from low self-esteem. So we go through things in life and we don't think we're worth what we are worth. And I talk about how to really boost your self-esteem up, how to boost that confidence level up, how to realize that you are the person. You got it. You are great. Everybody carries greatness in them. We all are special, and we all have something beautiful about us. Let it shine. Let it shine. And I'm very firm about that. And I talk about different ways and different strategies and tools to get there. And I talk about either connecting with God, your spirituality, whoever in life that you use to connect, and you need to understand yourself. Like your body is always talking to you. We don't pay attention to the signals in our body. We have to learn how to, pay attention to the signals in our body, and to also have gratitude. Gratitude is so important. We don't realize how important things are until those little things in life are taken away from us. And so, sometimes we have to stop and we have to really think about what life is and the people around us, have gratitude for them. The things we have gratitude. You go outside and you look around and you see the grass outside, be gracious and have gratitude, and just to live life,
I love that. You speak of gratitude. Here's what I do daily. There's a little paper I kind of write up, and the very first thing I write after the date is 3 gratitudes. This was yesterday. I wrote oatmeal, Disneyland, and touch. Today,
I like that.
I wrote air conditioning, clean sheets, and fresh water. If you'll just and I'll go through, I see prayer, military families, first presidency. I see the day before that, I've got day after day, vision, health is one of them I wrote down. I wrote muscles, I wrote testosterone, insulin, I wrote, whatever it is. You can write anything you want, but the fastest way to get rich quick, I love that you put gratitude in there. What does gratitude do for our mental health?
Gratitude kind of gives you a positive mindset, and that's what it's all about. Positivity is key to survival. In order to live a happy, healthy, productive life, you need to be positive. And when you have gratitude in your life, you are actually looking at life in a positive aspect. You are looking at the things you have and not the things you don't have. You are being gracious, and when you have gratitude for yourself, you have gratitude for others. And when you share gratitude, it goes a long way. Even just, it puts you in a different mind frame. It puts you in a different way of thinking, and it makes you act differently. It changes your whole self. It brings positive energy, and you draw positive energy to you, and it's a game changer.
It is. And I love that you are helping to change lives out there. Hope is a big important part of health as well. They find that people that have hope in their lives do well in hospitals. Those who have prayer or belief in a supreme being seem to do better. When Larry King had my father on his show, he said to Larry, he says, Larry, it's not your condition, because my father has MS. It's not your condition that gets you down. It's the lack of hope. When people lose hope, that's when neighborhoods turn into hoods. Same thing happens with your body. If you don't have hope in your life, you're not going to do so well. So find something to hold on to, some hope in your life, and watch how it blesses you. You know, you were just recognized by Healthline as one of the top 10 health websites. Congratulations, Stacey, on all these great awards.
Thank you.
Dr. Oz loves you, Ariana Huffington loves you, and we love you here at Achieving Awesomeness Now. I'm so honored to have you on my show. And if people want to learn more about Stacey Chillemi, where do they go to find out more about you?
You can go to staceychillemi.com. That's STACEYCHILLEMI.com. And you can, right there, you have everything on there. It'll lead you to my blog. It'll lead you to all the different things. We have a lot of freebies. We have a lot of things that we give away to help people and to bring, and I just, that will take you to everything you need. If you want to improve yourself, improve your life, improve the quality of life that you're living, go to staceychillemi.com and you're going to find something to make your life a better place.
She's got her 20 books on there. You can hire her as a coach on there. You got great resources. Your podcast link is on there. And you can even book her as a speaker for your events. You're just an amazing person. Talk about an incredible advisor. And I'm so honored to have you in my cell phone now. I'm going to be picking your brain about some of this health stuff. And we want to have you back on our show again and again and make you a regular. But Stacey, tell us, so just like, what's one important thing? If you had like 10 minutes left to live and you had one message for the world, what would you say to the world when in regards to their health and what they need to know?
I think when it comes to your health, I think you need to really take life seriously and really think about the moment. Live in the moment. Past is the past. You can't change the past, but you can focus on the present. So at this moment, there is always room for change. Change is always there as long as you're willing to create change. Focus on what you need. Focus on what your body needs. Focus on you. Listen to your inner self and take action. That's what you need to take action. Don't talk about it. Because when we talk about it, we procrastinate and we don't do. Be a doer, not a talker. And create what you need for yourself to make yourself a better person and be the person that you've always wanted to be. Because every person's dream can become their reality if they are determined, and if they have the resilience and the willpower to do it.
Wow. Now you guys see why Apple said what they said. That's right. One of the top 10 entrepreneurs of 2023 by Apple News. And of course, one of the top 10 health websites. That's staceychillemi.com. Guys, go make sure you follow her on Instagram, on YouTube. And we're just so honored to have you here. Let me ask one more question of you, Stacey. You know, you've been so successful as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as an author. What does success mean to you? What does it mean to achieve awesomeness right now?
Be able to help others. When I think of success, that success means to me that I've changed someone's life. I've made someone a better person. I have actually, been able to help somebody. The biggest feeling of success was when I was able to see that I changed other people's lives. And, I realized I'll tell you real quick example, when we talked about being an advocate, I went to an organization, and this was an organization that had the worst of the worst for people that had epilepsy, and people were taking about 300 seizures, 90 to 300 seizures a day. And I looked at them and I realized that was when my gratitude came in, and that pity party went away quickly. And I realized that you have to really stop pitying yourself. You have to start loving yourself, and you have to, stop thinking about you and start thinking about others and start doing what's best for others. And, if you can save lives, if you can help other lives, if you can bring a smile to somebody's face, that's all that matters, and bring joy to others, that's success.
That is awesomeness. And that's why we have you on this show. Guys, get ready to embark on a life-changing journey with Stacey Chillemi as she empowers you to unleash your true potential and create a remarkable, thriving life filled with purpose and wellness. Make sure you check her out, Stacey Chillemi, right here on Achieving Awesomeness Now. We want to thank you, Stacey, for who you are, for the lives that you're changing, for your selflessness, how you made success serving others. And this is a true key to success. Be grateful. Empower yourselves with powerful thoughts, but stop talking about it. Get out there, and what you say, just do it, baby.
Do it.
We want to thank you for being on the show, and like we say to all of our guests here, may God bless you, God bless your dreams, and may He bless you in achieving awesomeness right now. Thanks for being on the show, Stacey.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Attention realtors, brokers, and mortgage loan officers, regardless of higher interest rates, people all across the country are still buying homes. You just need to make sure that they're buying them from you. If you really want to be outstanding in your field, then you need to stand out with outstanding digital marketing and training. At StandoutMediaPros.com, or STOMP for short, we give you an unfair advantage above other real estate professionals, literally helping you to stomp out your competition. From top social media and AI training to lead generation, we've got you covered. Join our weekly coaching webinars and monthly celebrity calls, empowering you with cutting-edge practices from top producers. Learn the secrets that actually work to help generate you more closings, sharpen your image, tighten your messaging, and take your business to the next 10 levels. Live the lifestyle you've only been dreaming of. At StandoutMediaPros.com, we help you to stand out. Visit StandoutMediaPros.com today.